Hello guys, this is Ether 9999. Today I want to talk about how do you do on-chain staking, what they call it bonding, for the Swipe network. This is a project which recently caught my attention, which essentially allow users to take balances in crypto and spend it in a debit card format with Visa directly in many countries. I think they recently also got approved by US in USA, but it's not yet available yet. So do check out the project, swipe.io. It's pretty cool. Since we're kind of in the business to make sure that people do not essentially uh, cause trouble for themselves or messed up by themselves when you're dealing with Ethereum transactions, I want to make a video today on how to do on-chain bonding and all little steps that you want to make sure that you don't miss out, to make sure that you don't accidentally do something which is irreversible, or you fall into a trap of some phishing website. So I'll go through some steps and also show you some example of what you could potentially be missed out on or accidentally fall into trap of. So first thing is, let's talk about the token itself. So first thing is you need to kind of figure out, inside your wallet, we're using Metamask as an example here, that you do have the SXP token. Now to get the token, you either have to purchase them on the marketplace, or essentially they are listed because they on Binance because they recently got acquired by Binance. So if you do take a look at it, I have an SXP token down here. Now step number one is, how do I get my SXP token to showing my wallet balance? So you need to retrieve the SXP address. So let's go do that. What you want to do is go to websites like Etherscan to do that. But I just want to show you like common example. Like if you go to Etherscan, you might actually go into Etherscan and see that there's a website that's called Etherscan. But if you click on it, it actually goes into Etherscan. I think Etherscan, go to Etherscan. That's an example of where if you're to see a web address, you might think, oh, that's it, but then you might go to an entire different website that's a copy of. But in this case, Etherscan actually forwards to Etherscan. So what you want to do here is make sure you're always on the right website. So Etherscan is the right website here, and you want to look up SXP. And just keep in mind that when you're looking at SXP, double check that it is kind of the official profile, because of vanity addresses, you can actually make fake addresses that looks also like 0xCE9 blah blah. You may want to check the full address to make sure you're dead certain that you have the exactly right address, because I could have created a brand new address that look exactly like this, create a token contract, put up the same token icon. But if you just look a little bit detail under this address, you will see, okay, it's very distributed. Definitely looks like the right address, right? Because there's 19,000 people with this address. It's going to be a little bit harder to make like a fake address with 19,000 distribution. And you can look through a little bit more detail, like does it have a legit contract, etc. And is it verified with social profile? So anyway, so what all we're looking for, interested here, is copy the SXP address. Then what you want to do here is inside your MetaMask, go over to the location, I think it's down here, add token. So the bottom of your asset tab, you add token, you go to custom token, you put in the token address. For me, I already added it, so that's why it says token address already being added. And then it's going to show SXP here automatically with the decimal positions automatically. Essentially, they are fetching that from, I guess, the contract itself. So you shouldn't have to enter token symbol, etc. Click next, and you will see that you will see your token pretty much on the bottom of your list. In this case, I have 1,000 SXP. Let's go back a little bit on how do you get SXP. Again, you can withdraw from Binance to your wallet. So step one is you do need to get the fund into your wallet first. You could also be on a hardware wallet. That's okay as well. In my particular case, how I got my SXP is I actually went to Uniswap. So I went to Uniswap. I think they're on the V2, and essentially I just purchased SXP with ETH. And I'm just going to show you my transaction here. So that I purchased it a day ago. Essentially, using Etherscan, I did wrap ETH, and then I got SXP here. Okay, so it's a decentralized exchange, which means it doesn't go through Binance, it doesn't go to any centralized exchange. Uniswap is currently kind of the gas killer. That's kind of because a lot of people, I guess, are doing some arbitrage on it. But either ways, you can go to uniswap.org to do the swap directly. Okay, so that's kind of how I got my SXP balance. Then what I want to do next is I'm going to go to the on-chain bonding. Now, first thing, the Swipe official website, swipe.io, but however, they decided to use swipe.org to be their bonding website. So in this case, you see swipe, app.swipe.org is where you would do the official on-chain bonding. So in this particular case, I'm going to refresh here because I was on a different wallet earlier. So I have a 0xp. This is actually going to be my bonding results. And this is going to be the amount that I actually bond. So app.swipe.org is the official address. Do be very careful because I bet there's going to be a phishing website that look exactly like this. It's going to be like swipe.xyz or something. Try to kind of ask you to stake on it, and then you're sending it to out of nowhere. The second thing is make sure you are using exactly the interface. So which means although you can use ABI, go to Mu and do exactly the same thing, which I'll also show you in just a bit. What you want to do is come to the website and do that. You definitely do not want to send the funds directly to an address. I think there was a user on Telegram which did that. They sent the SXP directly to the contract, as in doing a regular, go to your token, select SXP, and he actually sent it to the contract address. My understanding, I didn't test this myself, is that there was a mint that was able to allow him to withdraw. Usually, what I have seen in the past is contract do not have the withdraw function, even a mint. So, which means even the owner of the contract cannot withdraw accidental deposits. So be very careful. Always check: are you supposed to be sending, or when they say send, do they actually really mean going to the website, executing, or running something through the contract? So okay, so come back to this. So now that I have my balance XSP in my token, I don't want to send. What I want to do is I want to do supply. So I can click supply here. Because my wallet is connected, so if you haven't connected your wallet, let's try to go back one step and see if it's going to ask me that. You come to here, the first website, and then you can click on the connect the wallet. Because I'm already connected, so therefore I don't have to connect again. Automatically recognize my address through web3.eth. Essentially, the website is able to connect your wallet and retrieve your balance from your MetaMask. Obviously they recognize the exact same balance I have, so you can also double check that. Available in wallet, is that exactly the same? Yep, it doesn't have the decimal place here, but it's pretty much exactly the same amount of SXP. Now I want to click supply, and when I do supply, I think it gave me some balance. I can try to click approve here. I think. Okay, first thing is you want to, I think there's a 2TX. Usually what happened, and let's go back a little bit so that it's to read this. Do you trust this? By granting permission, you are allowing swipe.org to withdraw your SXP. So usually what happens is there's 2TX. The first TX give permission for the website itself to get access to your wallet for that token. So you want to say yes. And you also want to do it fairly quick. I mean, in my case, since I'm doing an example here, I'm just going to do a fast gas. And what I usually do is take the fast gas and add that like 0.11, so that it's a little bit faster than everyone else, because everyone else is going to be trying to do fast gas. So I do it a little bit quicker. So all it does up to now is just enable your SXP, so the website itself can allow you to deposit. This works very similarly to any other decentralized exchange, like Radar Relay, Fork Delta, etc. In order for it to process any of your token, you need to first give it permission on chain to say yes. This website or this interface can be used to deduct my SXP token. You will see that very common. Now, so that just got completed. So you see, oh, okay, you think you staked? No, you haven't staked yet. All you have done so far is you did a signature to say approve. I'm gonna approve my SXP token to be used on Swipe. Okay, so Stripe.org. So now that's done, I can say, oh, okay, now the interface looks a little bit different. Now that I approve, I can now stake. Now you notice there is some balance. I can put in something small, and it's smart enough to not let me click OK, and then I'm gonna try maybe click max and try to click supply. Now, this is the part where a lot of people run into the issue, which is they all of a sudden, when they click max, which is something they probably adjust this, instead of max, they should make max closest to near 1,000. What happens is it's going to throw you an error, and a lot of people miss this red error because I think what the issue here is, and also it's going to give you crazy high gas. That's what a lot of people say. Hey, it's going to ask me for like $500 for gas. Like, what the heck is going on? What's wrong with your programming, etc. So all this is what in Ethereum smart contract, when all the smart contract do kind of preliminary check. In this case, I believe the check is checking for full 1,000. So if you put in something like 1,000 point something, or just click the max button, it's actually going to throw you a contract error. There's going to be revert statement in the contract. So therefore, ahead of time is actually going to throw you an error before you even submit it, because Metamask kind of are able to check this, or Ethereum protocol is able to check this before you submit the transaction. So you always be careful. If you ever see any red box in the MetaMask, likely mean you did something wrong. In this case, it's likely because of the max. You cannot put decimal. You need to be exactly multiples of 1,000. So what you want to do here is click reject. Okay, come back to here, change this to exactly 1,000. Okay, and then click supply. You will see that message goes away. Usually that message also comes up sometime instead of just an alert error. It might say, this transaction ran out of gas, etc. So make sure there is no error, because when you have error, likely because you made a mistake on your inputs. And again, they could have addressed this maybe with a slightly better UI to say, max rounded to the next 1,000. So I think that's where a lot of people are getting caught off guard by having the crazy high gas. Next thing is, before I submit, what you do want to do is submit it with a reasonable amount of gas. Sometimes you go to Ether gas station, but ever since I guess last year, MetaMask also implemented a way for you to edit the gas. So if you leave it just normally, I think it's going to use average gas, and even average gas may take 3 minutes. Now, sometimes you fall into trap where right when you do it, some other person comes in and add like a whole bunch of transactions. Then your 3 minutes end up becoming a day or longer. We never verify. Although MetaMask do allow you to speed up by adding more gas. If you want to do it quickly, then you definitely want to do something like fast gas. Go to advanced. What I usually do, go to advanced to make sure fast gas are a little bit faster than fastest gas. Just it's a habit of mine to make sure I get that a little bit faster, because everyone else will be doing the same number. If everyone else all piles up, you end up having to wait a little bit longer. So I find it's a little trick that you do it just a little bit higher. I figure people are going to do 0.1, so I just end up doing 0.111. So that kind of brings me to a little bit higher gas than everyone else. And even if you take a look at this, for some reason it's still saying 19 minutes. So I'm going to try to make sure I end on the fast gas. Yeah, I want that to be a little bit higher. So I may even do like 20.1. Okay, maybe I don't. Okay, I may not have a lot of balance on this particular account right now. It's all fully staking SXP. So I can try to do it a little bit faster. Maybe it's going to consume the rest of all my balance just for this video. So it actually says, one other thing to look at is it's going to tell you some gas estimate based on your gas limit. Usually you don't want to change your gas limit, but that is set by the developer. Gas limit just means how much maximum gas is going to use. Just to avoid a situation where it ends up going to an infinite loop on a contract and eat up a lot of gas. Gas is essentially how much processing power is going to take, and really depends on the specific smart contract and how much what we call opcode, how many instructions you need to run the whole smart contract. Anyways, what you want to do is don't touch the gas limit. What you want to do then is increase your gas amount, so which means per gas limit how much gigawatt you're paying, so that it can be fast enough. Gas limit I wouldn't touch. However, what's important to note is the estimate here is based on the gas limit. So for example, if I were to change this, I know I just told you not to change it, right? If I were to change this, you can see, oh, actually the amount gets cheaper. But what happens is if you lower the gas limit too much, it might actually fail, okay? So make sure you don't change to the default gas limit. I think based on past staking, it costs about 100K gas to stake. Now, that's why the developer put a little bit higher, just to be on the safe side. You see, I can make it very low, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, it's very cheap now, but it's likely a transaction just gonna fail. Okay, so you don't want to modify the default. Even if you make it very high, like 2 million, it's pretty safe. Although it's gonna say 0.51 ETH, actually it's gonna take however amount of gas it actually need to run the code. So I would just leave it at default. I think it was like 210K, and then I'll be expecting roughly 0.05, but because I've done this transaction before, I know it takes about 100K gas instead of 200K. So technically, the actual gas will probably be closer to 0.025 ETH than 0.05 ETH. Okay, so I'm gonna go to that, make sure it still look right, confirm, and let's wait for it to approve, and you will see that it's staked. Now, to go back a little bit, I just want to show you guys Ether gas station. If you don't know how fast, right now I was just doing just over like 360 gigawatt, but you can see that if you do, ASAP trader, they call it, this is new, they just call it trader. It used to be like standard, fast, and now I guess that ASP they added this new terminology called trader. So you can see actually transaction went through already, was very quickly. But if you do something standard or even longer, it might take you even days. Well, you might actually have a chance to fail. So if I go back to my activity, how do I make sure? Hey, people ask the question: did I finish staking or did it work? So you actually go back to your activity Metamask, and you can click on this little arrow, which brings you back to Etherscan to the transaction ID that you just submitted. You can check. Now, if you didn't, if it didn't get complete, it's going to say pending. I'm going to show you a few examples of pending, or try to just after this. But you can take a look. 1 minute ago, my transaction was submitted. Actual gas, instead of the total amount was 0.03. You remember just earlier, you can scroll back, go back a little video. It was my estimate was 0.05. And I was saying that's based on 100 gigawatt, right? So actual transaction was actually only 0.036. You can see my estimate was originally 100K for the gas. It actually took 140K gas limit, but you can see the total gas limits were 210, which means the developer estimate 210, they actually only used 140. My thinking is, because it is a contract, it is adding everyone else's address to the contract. As more and more people add to the contract, this may likely grow because it does have to iterate through some kind of structure. It is like essentially a test program, right? Imagine, I didn't look through the contract deep enough, but for example, it's almost like an array. The amount of codes you need to run depends on how many people is already in there in order for it to find or allocate your new space. So this gas will increase over time, likely. The more people that stake, I think this gas will likely go up, a requirement go up a little bit more. So either ways, stay with the gas limit, don't change that. And I was able to process it fairly quickly because I was using the trader gas, or faster than trader gas. Okay, so that kind of deal with the staking portion to make sure, yep, it's confirmed sent from my address to the staking contract. Again, although this is the same location and it says token transfer, do not send the token directly. You must be using the contract method, which is I just showed you. So I just go into a little bit more deeper on the contract method just in case people have questions. Firstly is you will see that instead of the approve function from earlier, it is, let's see if we can go back. Right, approve earlier, just approve my token to be used on XSP. My second transaction here is actually called stake. It actually allows me to stake my amount. Now there's a method here and there's an amount here. So technically I can do exactly the same thing using my Ether wallet, or any, even I can write a program to do exactly the same thing. What I would then need to do is use something called ABI and then operate directly with a contract. And I'll show you briefly on that in just a second. But before I do that, I'm gonna actually gonna open this contract. Again, right click, open an Etherscan, just to see if there's any other pending transaction. Okay, you see, there's this guy, someone else who tried to stake. You can see this is me, 0xA6FE. 4 minutes ago, I staked successfully. There's this guy that's been stuck for 24 minutes. So let's take a look at what happened to his transaction. So some people's like, oh, I staked, nothing happened. But so again, I was saying, go to MetaMask, expand the transaction, look at it, and see, okay, what happened to this guy? This guy is staking. Now, this guy, I think the issue here may be he put the gas limit very low. So first of all, I think that's bad. His transaction will likely fail. And I apologize for pointing out whoever this is, but I think you are likely going to fail here because your total gas limit won't be enough to execute a code. It'll be halfway to execute a code, and then it breaks. Secondly, he did a gas price of 550 gigaway. I think this is okay. Because I think if you look at my transaction, my number of gas price was 259 gigaway. So I think this person, maybe this help you. If you're looking, is yup, you put in way more than enough gas. You should have verified instantly, but you shouldn't have touched the gas limit because likely this may fail. Okay, so again, make sure you have enough gas price so that you are ahead of everyone else. If it's way too low, then essentially it won't get processed by the network just because the network is busy processing everyone else who is paying higher gas price. Now, gas limit is just a requirement based on how much contract code it is. So it's pretty much, you usually don't want to touch the gas limit. Okay, so that's one example why this person transaction likely may not go through. And I'm actually surprised, usually if I see this, I would have actually expect that this transaction finished already and already failed. So anyways, there's something going on here that's a little bit odd. Okay, so just coming back to our staking. So let's talk about one more step. And maybe before I do that, let's go verify and then let's come back and talk about how you can do it via contract. Okay, so once you have finished staking, you should be able to go back to app.swipe.org. It's likely in this case, it just refresh itself already. But if not, first of all, when you click on it, I think it only flashed up a few seconds, like 24 million stake, right? That went by very quick. They should have just probably put that inside this page. But anyways, if you take a look at it, you can see it already recognized to say, oh, okay, balance stake 1,000. So which means I done it successfully. And then it also has my transaction here. If you can, I think clicking on this doesn't do anything, but essentially it just recognizes saying Etherscan transactions hash 0x911 ... which should be just this transaction here, which is exactly the same as if you to go to MetaMask, go to activity, stake, and kind of click this little view on Etherscan. You will also see, I think, the transaction ID. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. I thought it used to show it on MetaMask as well. I'm just opening exactly the same page. Yeah, okay, so you're back here. So one last thing I want to go off to talk about. So far you're done. Okay, so for those of you not interested in more technical portion of this, so far you're done. If you go back to the contract, if you want to see, hey, I want to do it, I want to find other ways to do it. So you can actually always look at the contract. You see that in particular this contract, there you can actually read all the code if you like. That's another good way to prove the authenticity of it. It's kind of reading the code. But then again, be careful because you guys can actually go copy this code and issue a brand new contract, looking like pretty much the same address. So you have to be very, very careful operating on the over smart contract because technically with the whole crypto thing, you are your own bank, so you have to be careful and do all the due diligence yourself. Make sure the address is pretty much exact. you come back to this here. There's different way to do it. You can actually do the read and also write to the contract. Let me see this. Okay, so there's nothing you can really read here, but I think there may be able to do writes, and there may be something called stake. Okay, not in this case. But however, let me check out write as proxy. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think write as proxy may work. So remember earlier, if you take a look at when I actually did it through Metamask, it went to do a function called stake. So essentially it's the same thing. I think I should be able to find a function called stake here. Set minimal stake amount, stake. Okay, so number 10 is stake. So I could have gone here, went to the Etherscan, and directly go to stake and do pretty much the same thing. But what I probably need to do is connect to Web3 here. All it does is pretty much connect to my wallet. So it's doing exactly the same thing, connecting to my wallet, going to stake. Now, I haven't tried this. I'm almost 100% sure this will have exactly the same effect, which is you put in the amount you want to stake. But again, because you're operating directly with the contract, you need to know what you're doing. If you're going to do something like 10, it's likely going to throw an error, right? Insufficient fund. I mean, even if I have enough funds, it's probably gonna say, oh, okay, I know why earlier says insufficient fund, because I have insufficient funds. So if you want to donate to me, I can put my ETH address below for donate. I can take SXP or I can take ETH. But anyways, I'm really just making this video to help you guys. And I have ETH in some other wallet, but I'm just saying, it'd be much appreciated. Now, if you take a look at this, I did fail, right? Because it's going to say insufficient fund. Well, if I had enough fund, this one is going to say contract error of some sort. Okay, so I can reject that. And again, even if I do 1,000, I'm likely going to fail now because I no longer have the 1,000 SXP in there. Again, the gas price is going to be very crazy. Just because in this case, it is in the right 1,000 multiple, except I don't have SXP. So in any time where the user's condition do not meet, either their entry of the number isn't enough, or when you just don't have the fund, it's going to throw in a contract error. You could still execute the contract, I believe, if you have enough. Usually, if you have enough gas and ETH, you can actually go execute the contract, and it's just going to burn you a little bit of gas. I don't think it's going to take them out, this entire 500 ETH. I think because it's going to reject on the contract, it will burn a little bit of gas. You could submit it, but gives you a warning. If you had enough ETH, you can submit it, and then you're going to have obviously failed transaction that does nothing. But usually always pay a lot of attention. Make sure there's no red boxes that showed up before you sign. If it does, because you're doing something wrong. Okay, one last method to do staking if you don't want to go to Etherscan, connect your wallet to Scan to operate is all the smart contract. You also have the ABIs down here. So what you can do, I'm not going to do it in this video, is you can actually take the ABI. ABI is just a method for you to know how to operate with a contract. If you want to code something in Python in backend or Node.js, you can do that. You will need the contract address, connect by web3.eth, the protocol to connect to Etherscan, and then take the ABI code, which tells you how to operate this contract. Then you can submit exactly the same thing by code in case you want to do it. I think the legitimate reason why this is open and you want to do it is in case you want to write some code to arbitrage between Uniswap and what you have staked here. When the price is right, you might automatically do a monitor on the pricing, withdraw from the swipe via a code automatically, and then do a swap on Uniswap or something to that effect, and that gets more complicated. So this is all there is. Thank you, and I hope this video helped, and see you around next time.